Hey friends, today's Great Life Quotes video is a quote from FDR. I often speak about how neuroscience tells us that our brains are naturally engineered through evolution to first and foremost function as survival tools. Survival tools for the wilds of the savannah of 100,000, 50,000, 10,000 years ago. And not so much for success in modern society where we live today. Modern society is barely hundreds of years old, depending on how you define it. Today's fast-paced, high-tech modern society is barely decades old. Hardly enough time for major evolutionary re-engineering of our brains to function optimally in this modern society. Our brains still naturally and primarily seek threats to our lives, which was a great and useful feature of our brains throughout evolution. But few, if any, of today's threats are to our physical lives. Most of today's threats are to our egos, our pleasure, and our comfort. Our brains are still engineered to seek, expect, and to react to threats. But success in modern society rarely, if ever, comes from this natural mindset and brain activity. Success in modern society comes more from seeking to create positives and not to primarily or exclusively seek to avoid negatives. So it's up to us to recognize this tendency in ourselves and to take the risk of thinking, expecting, believing, and creating positive, big, exciting things rather than seeking and running from potential or perceived threats and other negatives. We need to make active choices to think, believe, act to our passions, our life purpose, and to our highest potential goals and dreams. To our brains, this is a risky thing. To our minds, it's doubly risky due to social indoctrination for us to think small and play it safe. So, if we understand this about ourselves, and if we're compassionate with this inherent weakness in our minds and our brains, and if we take steps to actually move into our fear, into the fear we feel when we want to be and to achieve to our greatest dreams, ambitions, passions, goals, and potential. If we move into and past this fear we feel of potential embarrassment, loss of face, confidence, or self-identity, if we move into and past this inherent fear, then we might be, live, and achieve to our great passions and potential. The magic never happens within our comfort zone. As the famous saying goes, the magic only happens on the other side of fear. Then we might move into the greatest potential version of ourselves, into our greatest potential, our greatest actualization, contribution, and life meaning. Because as FDR said decades ago, the only limit to our realization of tomorrow are our doubts of today. While that might be a slight overstatement, our greatest limitations to our realizations of tomorrow are, I would argue, indeed, our doubts of today, including those fears our brains naturally look for. So friends, move into your fear, move through and past your doubts. Understand your brain is engineered to identify and avoid that which you find risky, that which is unknown, that which might cause you pain. But understand that so long as something isn't an actual or potential threat to your life, health, or to that of anyone else's, I would recommend you consider casting off your limiting fears, move into and past your fear and discomfort and into your potential greatness. Be the you, the success, the results in the life that you long to see and feel in the world. Look, you and I have to think. We have to have beliefs. We have to feel, and we have to act. So often, naturally, we give into our brain's inclination to think, believe, and act small, safe. Heck, we have to make choices about whether to think, feel, believe, and act all day, every day. We make these choices. Our brains naturally want us to make the safe, easy, obvious, seemingly less risky choice. But when it comes to your passions, your purpose, your potential, your actualization, when it comes to your highest self in life, the choices we make will rarely be those that are the easiest or safest. Our greatest limitation to what we realize tomorrow is our doubt of today. Dare to think, believe, feel, act, and be great. We pass this way but once. Waste not another day. Waste not another opportunity. Waste not your potential, your passions, or your life.